In a world where technology evolves at an astonishing pace, the willingness to learn isn't just an advantage in our isn't just an advantage, it's our lifeline to staying relevant. For instance, I'm a data analyst, so I'm going to use that. Please don't be mad at me. So for instance, you're a data analyst and you worked as a data analyst in say, the education sector, and now you're looking to spice it up a little bit, or you're not exactly feeling what you're getting from that sector. You want to advance your career, but still as a data analyst, right? And then you start to look out for other jobs as a data analyst. And then you see interesting roles and maybe benefits from companies advertising in the fashion industry. So now you were a data analyst in the education industry and now moving to the fashion industry. You are not going to see the same things you saw when you were working in the education industry. The similarities are few, the differences are few too. But then the similarities are using the same tools, gathering data, following the complete data analytics process. But then the differences would be various team players, more people in your team, or a different workflow process, a different approach towards data and analytics, different approach to answering the business questions. This is the fashion industry. You were at the education industry. How would you adapt? You're not just going to show up at the interview. Maybe, yes, let's say you aced the interview because you're such a good data analyst, but to thrive in that industry, to help the business grow, answer their questions, solve the business problems, you would need to adapt. You would need to learn. You would evolve with the company. That is the willingness to learn. When you're willing to learn, you look forward to bigger challenges. You're not going to be stuck in the banking industry even though you don't want it there anymore because of the fear of going somewhere else and not knowing how to cope there. You're a developer. You now have to understand the business process of that industry to be able to solve their problems with your skills as a professional. When you're willing to learn, you would thrive. To be willing to learn, next slide please, is to embrace change, to have an open mind. Like I said about workflow process, the approach to the business questions, maybe the tools that you're so familiar with, they no longer use those tools there. The programming language you're so familiar with, they no longer use it there. Maybe it's now everything AI, or you have to now directly interact with humans. You're no longer just behind your computers. That's change for you in your career, right? Is that change? So how would you thrive? Are you going to get frustrated, pack up your bags and leave, and then go and search for more jobs that would fit your profile, or you would evolve? The tech ecosystem evolves all the time. It continues. To thrive there is to embrace change, right? So you continue learning. You look out for resources. You do your own research of that industry. How do I stay relevant and valuable in this industry? I need to keep learning. How do I stay up to date? How do I know the trends? How do I make my company stand out? how do I give us that competitive advantage? It is to keep learning. If you are a lifelong learner, you would become a problem solver. And then you learn from your past mistakes. I'll give you an example. Maybe you're an editor or a content marketer or developer or something, or say a product designer. And in your pathway, your learning journey, or where you were an intern or where you worked before, you started looking for other jobs, or before you got something or a promotion, you noticed that your superiors or your stakeholders or your employers were always giving this feedback of error. Say proofreading error. You put together the document you want to report. There's always this error. They always call your attention to how you have placed these things or how the words are not. There's just something. Maybe because of your emotions, you ignored the feedback that you were given. You did not pay attention to it. So maybe in that area, you didn't learn anything. You made mistakes. Probably that's why you were fired or suspended, or that thing makes you crawl in your career journey. You are going to learn to pay attention to that detail and that feedback, because that could be the turning point for you. It's not going to be the same. Maybe because you were working in the fashion industry, you're now in the education industry, and maybe the fashion industry, they had several work processes. So someone was there to help correct your mistakes before it gets to the end user or the final table where it's supposed to get to. In this other role, you may not have access to all those people that would help you spot your mistakes. And if you make any coding error, for developers here, you know these things. It could just spoil everything, right? So you learn from your past mistakes by paying attention in this new job. You say, oh, you realize that I have to grow, I have to improve. You're taking this feedback to help you improve and help the company grow. You also learn from your past mistakes when you take feedback and solve problems. Feedback would help you solve problems. I'm talking about your personal feedback. So it would help you solve problems. And when it's reoccurring, you need to look into the root cause of the problem. Why do I keep making this mistake? You look into it. That's you learning. That's you finding out. That's you improving and making yourself better. When you're willing to learn, you bring solutions. Like I said, you help your businesses solve problems. You become an innovator. Your mind is on the growth path. You're always thinking about growing. You're always thinking about improving. You're always thinking about how to solve a problem. You know things, you're updated. You have capacity to evolve. You would stand out when applying to jobs. You would stand out in your business. You would stand out with your products you're developing. The willingness to learn would help you evolve as the tech ecosystem evolves, and you would stay relevant. I think I would stop there for now.